Hey there. This is Ethan with Fundamentals of Finance, CFA charter holder and investment professional, back with the next episode of our Psychology of Money series covering representativeness bias. This comes from a mental shortcut our brains like to take to simplify things, the same one that leads to stereotypes. When we see or hear something that's new or hard to understand, we often view it in the context of other things that we're already familiar with to simplify it. This is almost the opposite of conservatism bias, which we covered in our last video. Instead of ignoring or downplaying new information, representativeness bias causes us to give too much weight to new information. For example, in 2023, everyone was really worried about commercial real estate. Well, not Kyle and I, but the fearmongers were having a heyday, as you can see. Anyway, a colleague of mine came on an investment call and said he'd talked to a friend that was a commercial real estate investor in San Francisco who told him about a building that he owned that was in big trouble. And the way he was saying it, it was like he was implying it was a sign that the whole country had a big problem. But he was taken in by representativeness bias. In reality, the problem was centered in office buildings and big tech-oriented cities like San Francisco. So this one single example of an office building in San Francisco was not at all representative of the entire commercial real estate market in the country. An apartment building in Kentucky or a data center in Ohio are quite different from an office building in San Francisco. But he'd seen a few headlines about it already, so the story from his friend then gained a lot more importance in his mind than it should have, and it led him to a wrong conclusion. In most of life, these mental shortcuts really help us. If you're in a foreign country and you don't speak the language, you can still find a taxi because you have a pretty good idea of what taxis look like, even if you've never seen those ones before. But in investments, it can be a problem, like what happened to my colleague. We'll often hear a story or read something without really being conscious of how our brains are processing it. But what happens is that when it fits with our pre-existing narrative, we often consider it to be more valid. We're more likely to remember it and consider it to be accurate without really checking its merits. On the other side, if it doesn't fit our narrative, we'll often ignore it or downplay it. That's conservatism bias, the topic of our prior video. There's no magic bullet to avoid this, but one thing that can help is to seek out new information that contradicts whatever we're thinking. If you think commercial real estate is a big problem for the banks, Google commercial real estate fears are overblown or something like that and see if there's information out there that you haven't been considering. In general, the best investment decisions are the most informed ones. Otherwise, it's just luck, and that's not sustainable in the long run. Next in our Psychology of Money series, we'll cover confirmation bias, which not only harms our investment decisions, but also makes us susceptible to fake news, polarized politics, and serves as the basis behind social media algorithms. I might have to spend a little extra time on this one because it's going to blow your mind how much it impacts society. You won't want to miss it. So hit that subscribe button, and if you haven't seen them yet, I'd highly encourage anyone who really wants to learn the secrets to becoming a great investor to go back and watch the other videos in our Psychology of Money series. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you in advance for sharing with your friends and family. And if you'd like to continue the investment conversation, come on in and join our free This board through the link in the description.